Once the strongest king, now reborn into the body of a child. Picking up where we left off, Arthur's squad is trapped. Inside the Dungeon of Death, they've lost their only healer. The team leader, Bra and a ranker, is down to one arm. Even their tank is completely out of commission. After hitting the thick fog, Samantha used her water magic. She absorbed the local moisture to stop the Zelio from healing, but it seems completely useless. The creatures just absorb the mist right back. Everyone's faces go pale with pure terror. Even Arthur freezes the second he turns back around. Standing there is a massive Zelio, an elder with Guardian, an S-rank monster. Total despair sets in for the whole team. Their teammate Creo is being swallowed by the beast alive. You can hear the agonizing groans from here. Watching that, the big guy just snaps. He can't take it. He releases all his mana at once. Arthur tries to stop him, but he gets blown back by the sheer pressure. Earth and stone coat his body as he charges. A massive strike. Arthur screams at Eliza to throw up an earth wall to protect him. She does it, but it barely holds. Jasmine pulls Arthur back, wanting to leave everyone behind. But Arthur won't do it. He gave his word to protect them. Meanwhile, Jasmine promised her family she'd keep Arthur safe. Boom, the impact shatters the earth wall into dust. That guy is covered in rock armor, rushing headlong into the beast. But he can't even scratch it. Almost instantly, he's snatched up. Arthur is desperate, trying to get everyone to fall back. They are completely outclassed by an S-rank nightmare. Just then, that coward Lucas strikes Arthur from behind. Arthur goes down, and Jasmine gets blasted away when she tries to help. That guy has truly lost his mind. He's still talking trash. He tells them to feel honored, to consider it a privilege, claiming they'll be remembered forever as heroes. Heroes who kept the monster busy long enough for him to escape. The beast slats Arthur aside. His body is heavy, battered. He can't move. It really feels like this is the end. But then, Bra lunges in to block the beast's killing blow. He's going solo against the monster to buy them time. A rank power for a reason. Even wounded, he's a force. Bra's strike is insane, cutting the beast clean in two. But it heals almost instantly, just like before. That massive effort, for nothing. Arthur finally pulls himself together and looks at the carnage. Everyone's spent. He has to use his final trump card. With the dragon's will driving him, he taps into that hidden strength. Golden markings flare across his skin. The second stage is finally here. This is the dragon's awakening, the fruit of 2.5 years. Training non-stop with Virion under the most brutal conditions imaginable. But he knows the cost. The backlash is incredibly dangerous for him. His hair bleaches pure white. Honestly, it looks absolutely legendary. Sylvie feels that surge of raw power and tries to rush in. He stops her immediately, shielding her from the beast's reach. That monster is just too dangerous, way beyond what she can handle. He warns her, eyes sharp, making sure she understands the gravity here. If things go south, she needs to fly straight home to safety. The beast senses the threat, shifting its focus entirely onto him. Now it's all-out war, every attack redirected toward Arthur. In this state, he can tap into every bit of surrounding mana. But his body, it's barely holding on, screaming under the strain. Still, he freezes the monster solid before it can even blink. Then he pulls off a triple element combo, shattering it into pieces. The effort is too much, his body collapses, and he goes under. Back home, his parents freeze as his mana ring starts glowing red. A warning signal. It means Arthur's mana reserves are completely dry. They can only watch helplessly, knowing their son is in trouble. A while later, Arthur finally stirs, regaining some of his senses. He tells Cathil to smash the stone embedded in his glove. His mother placed it there to help heal his deepest wounds. He's badly hurt, though his body is just too weak to move. Jasmine is in rough shape too, still reeling from Lucas's cheap shot. He tells her to use one of the healing stones on herself. Arthur reaches out through telepathy, reassuring Sylvie that everyone is safe. The poor thing doesn't need to worry about him anymore. Meanwhile, Catherine stares at him, then suddenly starts to giggle. His mask fell off during the fight, revealing his true face. She can't believe someone her age has power that feels like a cheat code. Eliza thinks he's dangerous, but clearly, he's got a good heart. After all, he's the one who carried them both to safety. He even conjured this entire shelter out of metal buried in the ground. That's an ability of the dwarves, a secret he's been keeping hidden. Catherine opens up, sharing the story of her own life before this. Raised by Elder Radis, but every time she asks about her parents, he always dodges the subject, keeping those secrets locked away. Ever since her mana core turned deep yellow, he pushed her away. He wanted her to explore Dicathan to find her own strength, hoping she'd eventually uncover the truth about her own origins. Suddenly, Jasmine starts snoring loud enough to wake the dead. She's talking in her sleep about eating grilled fish of all things. The two of them just stare, totally stunned. Talk about a mood killer. She wakes up and immediately pulls him into a desperate, tearful embrace. It is honestly a wild situation. His parents asked him to protect her. And just like that, he has to risk his life to keep her safe. Once her wounds are bandaged, they pack up and get out of there. Before they head back, they have to check on their teammates. But it looks like everyone else is gone. Then Eliza spots something. Turns out Samantha is still alive. But look at her, she is a mess. She is covered in deep wounds. Still, her heart rate seems pretty steady. Her breathing is stable, but this fever is getting to be a real problem. It is concerning, but at least I think she is out of immediate danger. Jasmine carries her back to safety while the others regroup. Meanwhile, he is still lamenting the loss of that S-rank monster. It lies buried deep in the rubble. Then, a massive tremor shakes the ground. Everyone panics, but it is just the baby dragon showing up to collect them. It has grown so much since they last met, and it is surprisingly affectionate. It keeps licking him. Honestly, that is a bit gross. Even the glasses guy is shocked. He is losing his mind seeing it is an actual dragon. Arthur has to step in. He warns him to keep this a secret. No one else can know. They climb onto the dragon's back to make their escape. The dungeon monsters see it and are terrified, backing off immediately. If Sylvie had come along from the start, the whole battle would have looked different. By now, Samantha has finally woken up, and everyone is genuinely relieved. She even hands him the mana core from that terrifying beast. He earned it, no doubt about that. A day later, they recover at the guild. With help from the Adventurers Guild, everyone is finally healing up. Suddenly, a group of soldiers storms the place. It is that snake Lucas, the traitor who attacked them earlier. Thankfully, Arthur is already moving. He blocks their path. The coward is still running his mouth, just talking trash. He asks if they had to sacrifice someone to save their own pathetic lives. Maybe Brawl was the one. He barely gets the words out before his ear is gone. Arthur cut it right off. He stalks toward him, radiating pure, cold fury. The soldiers feel that heavy pressure. They charge, but it is no use. Arthur wipes them out like they are nothing. The guild manager tries to stop him. Arthur does not finish him off right here. He just walks up to retrieve his sword. He laughs it off, says his hand flipped. Yeah, sure it did. Then Arthur turns to the guild manager, looking him dead in the eye. He asks if the guy really thinks he is strong enough to protect Lucas from him. That cold, sharp stare makes the manager shiver. That is real killing intent. You have to take countless lives to get eyes like that. It is terrifying. Arthur warns him not to get too involved with Lucas. Even if the manager is strong enough to wipe out the Wycus clan, it won't matter. Not if he is not strong enough to kill Lucas's older half-brother. At the military court, the judge begins to read the verdict. Lucas and his half-brother right there in the frame. Right inside the military court, the judge drops the final verdict. Master Lucas Wicks has officially been stripped of his rank status. He endangered his own dungeon expedition team. Completely reckless behavior. He is now banned from registering as an adventurer ever again. That suspension holds until the guild issues a new final ruling. Of course, his family clan had to get their hands dirty. With all those crimes, that scumbag deserved to be thrown in prison. Meanwhile, Arthur killed a terrifying S-rank beast all on his own. Yet he gets punished for attacking Lucas. Man, it burns me up. Lucas even tried to reveal the identity hidden behind the mask, but the court blocked him. They want to shield Arthur. They see the value in him and don't want the Wicks family interfering. And honestly, they're smart to keep that connection alive. With that mess sorted, Arthur invites Eliza to join him at Cyrus Academy. Just show up, he tells her. He will handle the rest. The guild manager even handed Arthur a massive pile of cash. A parting gift, she says. Quite the bonus for him. Sylvia turned into a tiny squirrel to stay hidden. Time to head back. Next, Arthur took off his mask and went straight to the shop. He needed a storage ring, and the owner was completely floored. This country bumpkin actually had the cash to drop on it. Who would guess it was only big enough for one sword and a mana core? After a long day, he finally makes it back to the house. Elena ran straight to the door. She's grown up so much. Watching her grow up makes him worrying about her future husband. His parents rushed out to greet him, a really happy reunion. Uncle Vincent showed up too, just to join in on the celebration. Lilia started at Cyrus Academy last fall, so she's not home. Arthur finally tells them about the wild dungeon expedition he survived. The whole family was shocked to hear he soloed an S-rank beast. He then hands his father the mana core he brought back. He wants his father to break through to the dark orange stage. Since Arthur already pushed past his own light orange phase, his father finally accepts the core, grateful for the chance. Uncle Vincent also sorted out the situation with Eliza's status. She is going to be able to join Arthur at Cyrus Academy. That is going to make the academy life a lot more interesting. The next morning, his father gives the mana core back to Arthur. It is strange, the core didn't even crack after being absorbed. Arthur needs to be careful. It turns out there is a catch. The core still contains the will of the beast inside it. If he fuses two monster wills together, he has no clue what happens. But he has to take the risk. He has to see it through. The tiny dragons will almost devour the S-rank beasts will instantly. Arthur luckily stopped the reaction just in time. That was way too close. His father could not absorb it because of that hidden, dangerous will. Since their elements just didn't click, Arthur had an idea. Princess Tesha, she might be the perfect fit for this. Peaceful days just drifted by like that. He kept up his training, but started making way more time for his family, living like a normal kid again, and his little sister. Every time she wakes him up, it is never gentle, seriously. Then one day, he headed out with Uncle Vincent. They arrived at a fancy house, but inside, a total mess. A disheveled guy lunged at them. Hey, don't judge a book by its cover. This guy is the kingdom's absolute best inventor, the master craftsman himself. Arthur pulled the steamship blueprints right out of his bag. The guy first thought it was just some kid's scribble, but then he saw the details. He didn't even blink. He was stunned. Still, Arthur left out a few of the most critical parts. Those only get added once their deal is officially locked in. The guy dragged out mountains of treasure to buy the full design, but nothing caught Arthur's eye until finally he pulled out his own prized heirloom necklace. The second Arthur saw it, he knew exactly what was inside. It held the power of a phoenix, a legendary earth dragon phoenix. This scale creates a protective barrier the second danger hits. And there's more. If the barrier breaks, the necklace automatically teleports the wearer to safety. The perfect birthday gift for his little sister and one for his mom too. Each one can trigger that skill twice, even though the old guy felt the sting of losing it. He didn't hesitate to trade for the ship plans. Then he dropped a massive bombshell. There's another continent out there called Dicathan. Uncle Vincent actually knew this from a servant working for the royal family. The intel seemed solid. The messy inventor then started telling a story from years back. They found an artifact attached to a mana beast. It looked like a bird species nobody had ever seen. In Decathlon before, it had a near-perfect camouflage ability. Some random adventurer was busy missing a shot at a squirrel and accidentally hit this bird instead. It was carrying an ancient artifact that recorded footage and audio, something Arthur would call a camera. Arthur just stayed cool, acting like it was just a camera. Seriously, nobody else here can build one. Meanwhile, Gideon here is the greatest genius inventor in Decathlon, and even he can't replicate it. That is why the royal family became convinced that another continent must exist. Right after that, Arthur finally handed over the full steamship blueprints. Eliza and the little dragon finally reunite with the rest of the group. Just then, a dwarf is getting bullied by a group of snobby nobles. They are students from Cyrus Academy. MT King can't just stand by and watch this pathetic display. He rushes in to protect the dwarf, but the noble just slaps him hard. "You little mutt, you're ruining my fun," the noble sneers. Eliza hesitates, worried that using magic here will bring trouble for Arthur and Halsey. Suddenly, one of the thugs spots the dwarven crest on Arthur's clothes. They mock the dwarf, cornering him while he has no idea what to do. Arthur steps in, his presence shifting the air in the room. "If you want to play without using mana, then come at me. I will be your opponent." The princess and prince happen to be walking by at that exact moment. She instantly notices Arthur. He's just that strikingly handsome. Vincent steps in to calm things down, fearing Arthur might accidentally kill them. He's never seen Arthur this genuinely furious before. But those idiots keep mocking him for defending a mere dwarf. Vincent's face turns bright red, veins popping out as his patience snaps. He's moments away from knocking their teeth out for good. Meanwhile, Arthur calmly walks forward, carrying Tip. The blue-haired punk lunges at him, but he's embarrassingly weak. One swift move, and he's already flat on his back. The blonde noble grows even more enraged and charges ahead. "I will show you the difference between a commoner and true nobility." He uses a rapid movement technique, circling Arthur like a blur. But when he strikes, Arthur dodges the blow without breaking a sweat. Arthur counters with a sharp smack to the guy's backside. So much for all that arrogant posturing. Since his wooden sword snapped, Arthur decides to just use his fists. The red-haired noble grins, relying on his father's enchanted brass knuckles. He thinks they're more dangerous than any weapon. But the second he locks eyes with Arthur, his body starts shaking. It's a level of pressure his own father couldn't even dream of. Still, he recklessly charges in. Arthur ends it with a single, brutal punch that shatters his ego. Enraged, the guy tries to sneak in a mana-infused attack. Suddenly, it's blocked. Princess Kathleen has arrived on the scene. The bullies immediately fall to their knees, spewing lies. They claim they were just playing until this savage commoner attacked them. The princess glances at the dwarf's injuries and sees right through them. Her brother, Prince Curtis, isn't quite as sharp. Arthur speaks up directly. "You all put on quite a performance." The prince's guard grabs Arthur, furious at his perceived disrespect. But clumsy Arthur just speaks right up, calling their whole act a total circus. The prince's own guard lunges at him instantly for showing disrespect to royalty. Intense pressure radiates from Arthur. Why is a mere kid this strong? Even Uncle Vincent is left speechless, barely able to find the words. Once the prince realizes what is happening, he turns to the bullies. He starts scolding them, but the redhead is a chide in air. Things get complicated fast. The prince has to cut his sister off. He claims that no one is actually hurt that badly. "Just shake hands and call it even. Put this all behind you." That bully is already celebrating inside, thinking he is safe. He assumes his powerful family backing means he is untouchable. But Arthur doesn't care. He pulls out his phone for Director Guskai. They all think he is bluffing, just some kid running his mouth. Then the director's voice echoes out, and their faces go pale. Arthur tells her, "I need you to expel a student today." Jamie and Chiden and his group, "Get them out of your academy now." They were bullying other races and using attack magic inside the city. Even the director tries to shield them, but Arthur stays firm. He pushes hard, and just like that, the trash is taken out. Everyone is left standing there, stunned, unable to believe their eyes. It is complete shock. They simply cannot process what just happened. The mother is calling non-stop, screaming and cursing at her son. She just got the news. The director herself ordered the expulsion. Her boy's officially kicked out of Cyrus Academy. Now the prince has to flip his stance and apologize for his behavior. With power like that on his side, even royalty starts to sweat. Then, the lovesick princess drags him off for tea, stunning everyone. She is tossing all her royal pride aside just to chase a guy. Meanwhile, the big announcement for the three kingdoms finally kicks off. Humans, elves, and dwarves, the kings have something massive to reveal. Forget their current continent. There is another one waiting out there. It is a land full of threats and trials that no one expects. The three races need to stand as one to survive what is coming. The kings announce 6 chosen warriors, the best of the best. These are the people they trust to represent them on the new continent. They call them the 6 spears, the strongest of all. Lucas Wickus's own half-brother is among them, representing his clan. This does not sit well with Arthur. Trouble is brewing on the horizon. A few days later, it is his sister's birthday celebration. Uncle Vincent warns him, eyes from powerful families are everywhere tonight. He tells Arthur to watch his back, keep his guard up. Eliza is busy flirting with girls until Arthur catches her red-handed. She immediately changes the subject, acting like nothing happened. Finally, the star of the party, Illinois, makes her grand entrance. Everyone surprises her, a sweet little moment for her big day. Dad has a few drinks and starts pushing for a brother-sister dance. He has no clue. Neither of them knows how to dance. Tonight, you're done for. Lucky for Arthur. His past life skills kick in. He nails the dance with his little sister. Perfectly timed. He even uses wind magic to make her float, a real showstopper. Right then, the uncle who helps him with his gear shows up. He brings big news. The emperor and empress approved their latest designs. That is huge. A little later, Lilia stops by to wish Elena a happy birthday. A bit late, maybe, but she and Arthur end up talking for hours. Lilia seems really into him, honestly. But Arthur, he's completely clueless. He just thinks she's being nice. You know, just thanking him for helping her become a mage. Meanwhile, he and Gideon strike a deal, a big one. Gideon will craft whatever Arthur needs just to get a peek at his knowledge. Digging through her gifts, Elena finds one with no name attached. Inside is a bow, a genuine elven piece, probably from Princess Tesha. Then his little sister comes asking for her own. She wants one for Mom and one for herself too. These are 2 rare necklaces, the only ones left on the continent. He wants to make sure they're safe whenever he's not around. And that brings season 3 to a close. Time flies. Arthur is 12 years old now. Today is the big day. He's starting at Cyrus Academy. Eliza tries to wake him and Sylvia up, but gets a smack for it. They were just enjoying that sleep, and Arthur isn't a morning person. He signed up for the magic classes at the academy. He really wants to master his ice and lightning spells. So he and his buddy say goodbye to their families and head off. The academy gates are already swarming with students. Everyone is lining up for the opening ceremony. They've got to get their elemental magic tested right away. To keep things low-key, Arthur only shows off earth and wind magic. He's aiming for the battle mage class. The main hall is massive, honestly. It's enough to leave anyone speechless. His buddy's glasses make him look like an easy target for some bullies. But one look at Arthur, and they lose their nerve fast. Seriously, they shut up the moment he glares their way. Then the headmistress shows up, and she actually winks at him. With a quick bit of sound magic, she commands total silence. This year, Cyrus Academy has students from all kinds of races. Elves, dwarves, it's never been like this before. And New Age for mages is really starting right here. The student council steps up to welcome everyone to campus. Turns out Lilia is on the council, which gets his buddy all hyped up. But then he spots someone else he knows, Princess Tesha. She's grown up so much. She looks incredible compared to when they were kids. Besides being student council president, her status is something else. She is the only disciple of Headmaster Guskai, and honestly, everyone is impressed. Tesha delivers such a passionate speech, she really looks the part of student council president. Sylvia calls her mother, which leaves Arthur completely stunned. Eliza, right beside them, mutters that he probably fell for her at first sight. The other two are just speechless. This perverted Four Eyes has said that line a dozen times today alone. After the opening ceremony, things take a turn for the worse. They stumble across a dwarf being bullied by a group of nobles. But this guy is tough. He challenges the noble to a duel right there. The crests on their uniforms can actually create protective barriers. Academy battles are turning out to be pretty interesting. Arthur takes one look and spots the difference. The noble's monocore is dark red, while the dwarf's is black. They both unleash their magic, and in terms of raw skill, the dwarf actually has the upper hand. But this coward plays dirty. He throws dust in the dwarf's eyes and sneaks in an earth elemental attack. Just like that, the dwarf goes down, and the barrier shatters, ending the fight. But the noble isn't finished yet. He moves to break the dwarf's arm. Eliza gets ready to jump in and act the hero to impress the ladies. Then Arthur yells out loud, "Is anyone from the student council here?" The noble actually falls for it and backs off, but he struts over to Arthur to pick a fight before leaving. He doesn't forget to threaten Arthur. "Just wait until we meet in class." Sylvie spits on the guy, and veins start popping out all over his face. He wants to throw hands, but then the student council president, Tesha, finally shows up. This blonde jerk starts blaming Arthur, just like every other side character in this story. "I already approved a one-on-one duel," the dwarf Bruce tells them when Arthur cuts in. Arthur turns to greet his wife, but then Lilia rushes over too. Once she finds out Lilia and Arthur have been living together, Tesha freezes up, thinking she's been cheated on. Under her pressure, the blonde guy immediately apologizes to Arthur. She decides to punish Arthur for being the one to cause this whole mess. But Arthur fires back. How would she know what actually happened? The dwarf's shield was already broken, and the fight was technically over. He was only trying to save her from some major trouble. Now watch this. A council member named Clyde tries to block Arthur for being arrogant in front of the president, but he gets shut down hard, shifting all the blame onto him like typical minor characters in this story. He already accepted a hand-to-hand duel from the dwarf guy named Bruce. Right when this male lead kid tries to cut right across them, Arthur turns around to greet his girl, but Lilia rushes over too, finding out that Lilia and Arthur have been living together for a while now. Tesha starts spacing out completely, thinking she got cheated on. While that blonde guy under her intense pressure has to apologize to Arthur right away. She is about to punish him for starting this whole chaotic mess. But Arthur tells her what does she even know about any of this. The dwarf shield was already smashed to pieces anyway. The match was over, and he was just helping her avoid extra trouble. Clive from the student council steps up to block him for acting so cocky. But that guy takes a brutal hit while vines wrap tightly around his body. The one who strikes is none other than Tesha backing him up from afar. Arthur just gives a light shove, but Tesha can't even move. She has no choice but to let him walk away. They feel like total strangers after all these years apart. Back in her room, she's a mess. This time, she really blew it. Their reunion was supposed to be happy, but now it's just awkward. If she wasn't the student council president, she wouldn't be this tense. That same night, the headmistress personally visits Arthur's room. This catches Glasses completely off guard. Being the smart guy he is, he leaves them to talk alone. With one look, she realizes Arthur is hiding two rare elements. She wanted to brag about protecting a kid with 4 elemental powers. She's glad he registered as an academic mage after all. Just as she suspected, he made a dangerous enemy back as an adventurer. Now he doesn't want to give that guy any reason to be suspicious. At least, not right now. Arthur wants to study the highest level mana theory classes, especially the special systems, and she agrees to his request. On top of that, she gives him clearance to observe upper-class melee combat. But in return, he has to join the disciplinary committee to handle academy trouble. His new uniform for the committee is already prepared. Before leaving, she tells him to make peace with Tasha quickly. She even mentions their childhood friends, which leaves Glasses petrified. This lucky guy really has it all. Eliza has a childhood friend too, but hers is a bit different. And honestly, way more muscular than him. The two walk into the dining hall, and every eye is on them. It looks like the rumors about Arthur have already spread everywhere. He's basically a local celebrity already. Then, a guy from the Ravenpaw clan walks up to Eliza. He wants her to join his group, but Glasses accidentally mishears the name. Pigeon Poop Clan, the guy instantly loses it and knocks away his food. How dare you mock a noble? I even went out of my way to invite her. So she wouldn't lower herself playing with this academic trash. He tries to attack Arthur, but gets swiped away in a heartbeat. He didn't even see Arthur move. There is no way this academic kid can move that fast. The guy lunges again, but suddenly vines bind him tight. It's Tasha. She's helping Arthur from a distance. Arthur steps forward, radiating a terrifying wave of pressure. You noble brats sure love to boast about your wealth and power, don't you? Arthur now unleashes a terrifying pressure as he walks straight toward him. You noble brats really love showing off your wealth and power, don't you? Curious about what the new member can actually do, huh? Well, he is thinking who would be dumb enough to fall for that trap. The guy right next to him happily volunteers to step right into it. All you're doing is dragging your own family name through the mud. If your parents couldn't teach you better, then I guess I will. That guy isn't even scared, confident because of the crowd surrounding them. If Arthur uses mana to attack, he knows he'll face serious punishment. But Arthur doesn't care. He just walks up and pulls his pants down. Seriously, what a total disaster for him. Now he's the laughingstock of the whole academy, especially since he's looking a bit small. Outside, Tasha is waiting, and Arthur doesn't even know what to say. Before he can even react, she lunges forward and headbutts him right in the face. Then she starts going off on him, yelling about him scolding her. The guy with the glasses walks out, sees this entire scene unfold, and just freezes. He's honestly just jealous, wishing he could be the main character for once. Sylvie rushes in, too, licking them both, looking absolutely adorable. After that, the two of them just walk and talk for a while. Arthur looks so good. Tasha starts getting worried about all the girls chasing him. It's definitely a lot of competition for her to handle. Arthur gives her a mana core from an S-rank beast he took down. It's a perfect match for her, exactly what she needs right now. Back in their room, the guy with the glasses is waiting to ambush Arthur. He tells him to sit down and explain exactly what just happened out there. Even if they are childhood friends, he can barely believe his eyes. He's losing his mind that the moon goddess just leaned her head on Arthur's shoulder. That's the nickname everyone at the academy uses for the student council president. To them, she looks like a brilliant, unreachable moon glowing in the night. She's so close yet somehow so distant to everyone else here. No matter how hard they try, they can never actually reach her. It's like she exists on an entirely different level than the rest of them. But then this guy Arthur just walks up and touches the moon itself. The guy with the glasses throws a pillow at his face. Time for bed. The next day, Arthur shows up in his new disciplinary committee uniform. Everyone is staring, completely envious of the status he carries now. The principal personally handpicked the strongest students for this elite squad. This fourth-year guy is here with his rank lion beast companion. But when the beast sees Sylvie, it turns into a total scaredy cat. A dwarf girl named Dora, a first-year student, also joins the group. That's not all. The rest of the members are waiting for them too. Even the prince and princess are part of this new squad. That elf guy who was acting tough earlier is standing there as well. Arthur actually doesn't even recognize him at first glance. It's Caspian. He brings up the headbutt from before, looking really salty. That just makes him even more annoyed, watching Arthur play it cool. A girl with red hair steps up, introducing herself as Clay, a sixth year. She's from the combat class and seems to be leading this messy group. Arthur realizes she shares the same last name as the guild manager. Turns out, the guild manager is actually her uncle. The guy next to him shakes Arthur's hand but instantly unleashes gravity magic. A blatant test of Arthur's strength he didn't even stop to think. Looks like our Arthur isn't just about that pretty face, right? Ferd faceplants into the dirt the second he tries that move on Arthur. He's furious now, screaming, "How could you compare me to that brute? That guy is an augmenter. Well, I am strictly a conjurer." They are about to have a grand debut in front of the entire academy. The student council president steps up, looking incredibly formal and official, proudly introducing a group handpicked by the headmaster himself. Their goal, to resolve conflicts and keep the peace between students. Everyone, please welcome the new disciplinary committee. Ever since that announcement, Arthur's fame around campus has just exploded. Countless girls are totally losing it over him. He is the talk of the school. Today is his very first class. Professor Avius is here to break down the fundamental theory of mana. It might be a basic class, but it is a required course for everyone. Pay attention, because this is the foundation for everything we cover this term. In terms of physics, conjurers have mana veins that are much more developed. They are responsible for absorbing ambient mana from the environment. Then they transport that energy directly into the mana core. Meanwhile, augmenters have mana channels that are much more developed. Those channels distribute mana from the core to the rest of the body. Because conjurers can absorb mana from their surroundings so efficiently, they usually have an easier time advancing to higher core levels. Conjurers are better at circulating mana within their own systems, while augmenters have better control when it comes to long-range mana usage. The professor poses a question to the entire room. If a conjurer and an augmenter have the exact same mana core, who would actually hold the advantage in a fight? The students start debating their theories, making the lesson pretty lively. A little while later, Princess Kathleen comes in and sits right next to Arthur. She calls him cute, though she definitely means the baby dragon, not Arthur. That guy first is here too, sitting nearby just to show off for him. Watch out, the professor walking in is that same drunkard Arthur met earlier. He spots Arthur immediately and decides he's going to give him a hard time. "I am honored to teach the disciplinary committee members," he says. But I bet everyone here is curious about the new member's true ability. Arthur is just thinking to himself, who would be dumb enough to fall for that trap? Suddenly, the guy next to him volunteers to jump in. Talk about never outgrowing that habit of needing to show off. The battle between them is about to start, proving he still cannot shake off his old habit of showing off. Their upcoming clash is about to kick off right now. And look at that, someone actually volunteered to join in. Guess he still can't help acting like a total hothead. Their fight is kicking off. Turns out First isn't just talk. He's a true elite. As a member of the spirit tribe, he's mastered high-level magic. He can shift the terrain, turning the environment into his own advantage. Water snakes lash out, but the alcoholic professor brushes them aside. He shatters the attack effortlessly with a blast of blue fire. The professor is just trying to inflate his own ego here. He humiliates First, then turns his gaze to Arthur, full of arrogance. Suddenly, the princess steps up. She's volunteering for the next round. The battle starts immediately, and the atmosphere shifts in an instant. Kathleen wields ice, while her opponent commands the fury of fire. She launches a torrent of ice rain, but the professor blocks it. She doesn't stop, shattering the ice to create a swarm of needles. She follows up with an ice lock, but he's simply too strong. He seizes the opening, unleashing a relentless barrage of fire. Kathleen is caught off guard, left completely open to his assault. The ground shakes, but Arthur arrives just in time to intervene. Our hero saves the day, stepping in right as she's overwhelmed. The old man is still mouthing off, preparing to launch another spell. But Arthur isn't having it. He won't let his student get hurt. He's done playing around. It's time to expose this fraud's true colors. The professor dares him to fight, but Arthur just stares him down. He gives the old man a choice: pick his weapon, pick his style. The duel begins, and Arthur doesn't even bother with his mana. He relies purely on his sword skills and physical strength alone. That only makes the professor fly into a blind, desperate rage. Arthur starts mocking him. Is this really the best a teacher can do? He hasn't landed a single blow on a first-year student. The professor goes all out, but he can't even graze Arthur. Every attack misses by a mile, hitting nothing but thin air. The crowd is confused. It's hard to tell who's the master here. Arthur suddenly bursts forward, leaving the professor completely stunned. He's so fast, the old man almost meets his maker right there. Now Arthur adds wind magic to his movement, closing the gap. The professor's defense crumbles, and he is soundly defeated. His barrier shatters into pieces, leaving him wide open and broken. Arthur even thanks him for the lesson. Talk about adding insult. He heads off to the next class, this one focused on crafting. A blue-haired girl named Emily asks to sit right next to him. She's shy, but they hit it off instantly and become friends. Her hands are covered in scratches, clearly from working way too hard. Arthur's hands are the same, both of them clearly put in work. Turns out Emily created the projection screens for the entire royal family. Honestly, that girl is a total genius. By now, Arthur's reputation is spreading like wildfire through the halls. Everyone knows the first year who took down that washed-up professor. The practice class begins, and of all people, the professor is Gideon. He stomps in, already running his mouth. Hello, you commoners. Don't be too thrilled. It's a massive honor just to have me here. But then his eyes land on Arthur, and he freezes mid-sentence. Shocked, he pivots, bragging non-stop about his own inventions for the entire hour. Suddenly, a horned owl swoops in, landing right on Arthur's shoulder. It's Headmaster Goodsky. She's summoning him. He figures he's finally getting hauled in to face consequences for that brawl. You know, the one where he beat up that drunken teacher. Turns out, nope. She cuts straight to the point. Do you want to become the acting professor? Specifically for the mana manipulation practical course. Arthur just stares, stunned. He's baffled. You've got to be joking. I'm barely a student here. I haven't even finished my very first day of classes yet. Is it even possible for someone to be a student and a professor? At the same time, it sounds completely insane. She shuts him down. It's her academy. She says yes, and that is final. Nobody is going to argue with that decision. Trust me. She explains that high-ranking upperclassmen often step up to teach basic courses. And besides, that drunk professor got fired for hurting Princess Kathleen. Arthur eventually caves and agrees to take the position. Once he leaves, that all starts dropping some serious truth bombs. Don't ever look at Arthur Lewin like he's just some kid. Not when it comes to his sharpness, his soul, or his emotional maturity. He's not what he seems on the surface. He even knows Sylvia's true form is a dragon. That reveal leaves the headmaster visibly shaken. When he truly comes into his power, he's going to be unstoppable. Even that old owl wouldn't stand a chance against him. She warns her to never make an enemy out of Arthur. If she respects him and trusts him, he is her greatest ally. But betray him, that could literally trigger the collapse of this entire continent. Down in the canteen, Eliza hears the news about his teaching gig. She goes completely statue still, then spits her drink right in his face. She is so shocked. She's talking about skipping her own class just to audit his. At the advanced class, he runs into the prince and the disciplinary squad. Plus, members of the student council are hanging around. Princess Tasha spots him getting hugged by another girl. And yeah, she starts getting jealous right away. Seriously, Arthur, good luck with that. Suddenly, his expression hardens. He just spotted that piece of trash, Lucas. High above, a massive eagle appears in the sky. Professor Glory is riding on its back. She's leading the combat course. That firehawk is her bonded beast, and she's running the show. Arthur's eyes lock onto her. He wants to know exactly what is going on. The first semester combat class begins with her fiery hawk. It is her soul bond, and Arthur wants to know something. No matter how strong she is, the professor blocks Arthur's gaze instantly. It's like she's hiding her true power and elemental affinity. She marches right up to Arthur. Isn't this our new colleague? Arthur Lewin, nice to meet you. The whole room goes silent. A first year, everyone is shocked. Even the seniors don't dare take this role. We should trust the headmaster's decision a little more, right? Arthur already proved himself by beating the former professor of this class. One of them starts running his mouth. Anyone could do that, he sneers. Why don't you try your luck against the new professor of practical mana use? They're clearly trying to force Arthur into a fight to prove his worth. To make things interesting, 3 discipline committee members will face the other team. Clee from the student council chimes in. He'll join the president to crush them. And that dog Lucas joins too, just to round out the squad. Before we start, a few rules. The match lasts 30 minutes. Afterward, we'll have a full breakdown of everything that went down today. The discipline committee gets a handicap since Curtis and Clay are trained veterans, compared to the 2 first years on the student council team, that is. So Arthur takes the role of king. If he falls, his whole team loses. These vests, specially crafted by artisans to track every bit of damage. Once you hit the threshold, a loud, piercing alarm starts screaming. Ignore that warning, keep fighting or casting, and you're banned from my class. Immediately, the match kicks off and everyone picks their target. Lucas is the one Arthur wants to absolutely wreck today. Arthur just flashes a dark, dangerous smile. You aren't getting away, kid. He releases a wave of pressure so intense the whole room freezes up. Wine magic kicks in, and he bolts forward at blinding, lightning speed. Lucas frantically summons Hellfire magic to defend himself from the assault. Then comes a wild combo. Small orbs turn into explosive projectiles. Even Arthur has to dodge carefully. He's clearly holding his own. Honestly, Lucas has a lot more mana than he did back then. He might be a total jerk, but he's definitely got real power. Arthur needs to think fast to get past the terrifying wall of fire. Focus on the flames. Time to test out some basic wind techniques. Since this guy is the one bullying her, Arthur just grins. That nasty, dangerous smirk. He knows the boy cannot escape now. He unleashes an insane amount of pressure, making everyone freeze. Wine magic is already in motion, moving at lightning speed. He rushes forward, forcing the boy to summon fire magic. A wall of hellfire erupts, blocking Arthur and acting as defense. Then the combos start, turning small orbs into explosive shells. Even Arthur has to struggle, dodging those deadly, fiery hits. Clearly, his mana levels have skyrocketed compared to before. He acts like a total jerk, but he is genuinely strong. Arthur needs to think fast to counter that relentless firepower. Focus on that blaze. It is time to use basic wind arts, casting spells and spinning mana to squeeze out every bit of actual results. But if he could somehow get a grip on the air molecules right around him, that raging fire of his opponent would just choke out and die. Theory is one thing, actually pulling it off mid-fight is a whole different beast. He needs to manipulate the surrounding air before that incoming strike lands square on him. Looks like he has no choice left but to risk it all on one desperate gamble. Up high in the observation booth, a professor watches the clash closely and sizes up Lucas. Way better than expected. Casting Hellfire, one of those notoriously brutal area elemental spells. And he's wielding it with total fluency at such a young age. Honestly wild to see. On top of that, his mana reserves completely dwarf what you would expect from a silver core mage. Then her gaze shifts over to Arthur, missing a bunch of flashy spell forms, sure. But his footwork and movement choices are surprisingly sharp, almost too smart. Plus that suffocating pressure weighing down on the arena just seconds ago was nothing short of terrifying, hitting everyone in the stands with full force. She honestly cannot wrap her head around what a 12-year-old kid has survived to get this strong. Meanwhile, Arthur is holding his breath, entirely focused on pulling off a crazy stunt. Instead of dodging out of the way, he takes the enemy's raging firepower straight on, leaving every single spectator in the stands staring in absolute disbelief. He's clearly trying to control the local airflow to snuff out Lucas's hellfire, wrapping a razor-thin membrane of air tightly around his own body as a makeshift barrier, acting like a vacuum to starve the flames and scatter them right before impact. Though taking that direct heat means his body is already covered in nasty burns. Is he seriously trying to trade blows to the death with this absolute lunatic? Because right now, that jerk just summoned massive flame guardians charging straight at him. Suddenly, a crushing wave of mana pressure washes over the field, heavy and suffocating. Sylvie chimes in with an urgent warning. Tesha is in serious danger right now. And right on cue, Lucas unleashes his next devastating attack barreling toward him, leaving him no choice but to tap into Dragon Will just to handle the fallout. Turns out Prince Curtis is letting loose his beast will, and that lethal strike is way too close. Time seems to freeze for a split second as he bursts forward to shield her, because Tesha's mana core is completely malfunctioning, leaving her totally defenseless, with zero strength left to fight back against the sheer backlash of power. A deafening crash echoes through the air as Arthur throws his own body in the way, taking the brunt of that brutal attack head-on to protect her from certain doom. Heavily wounded, he gets dragged straight back to the medical wing to recover, where the headmistress drops by to check on him and fill him in on the situation, explaining that Tesha's core is rejecting the beast will she can't even control, driving her body to the brink while she remains completely helpless. As soon as the headmistress gets word out, his parents come rushing to his side in a panic, looking down at him with eyes full of absolute worrying after everything he's been through. Though thankfully none of his injuries are life-threatening or permanent. His dad even cracks a joke, teasing that his boy is basically running the whole school now, while his mom stays stressed out wondering if the guy her son beat up is still breathing. Parents like these are something else, totally unfazed in the worst moments. And right on cue, Tesha's family arrives at the facility to see the aftermath. She's here to thank Arthur for saving Princess Tesha. Watching them look at each other, Tesha's father starts eyeing the boy with a strange intensity. My son has great taste. He thinks truly a fine eye. Arthur's mother teases them, already calling Tesha her future daughter-in-law. Tesha turns bright red, like a ripe grape, clearly flustered by the attention. Her grandfather is just as bad, pushing the match by calling Arthur his grandson-in-law. Tesha grabs his beard in embarrassment, scolding him for it. Ellie, Arthur's little sister, isn't happy either. She stares down the girl, who Arthur nearly died trying to save. She's jealous, worried this pretty sister-in-law will steal her brother away. But when she learns Tesha is the one who gifted that bow for Arthur's birthday, she flips her attitude in a heartbeat. Now she's asking Arthur to compare them, wanting to know who is prettier. Arthur gives a safe answer, but it clearly isn't enough, leaving both girls frustrated and annoyed. Good thing he's still injured, or he might have gotten a head thumping. His master mentions that Tesha's mana core is sensing up perfectly. She's safe now. He's curious how Arthur gained the beast will from that S-rank boss. He can barely believe Arthur took it down with his own hands. Outside, Uncle Vincent and the rest of the family arrived to visit. Arthur, it's loud and chaotic, but you can't deny how much they care. Old man Gideon even designed a private training room for him, following the principal's orders. And get this, it's completely free. Since when is that old guy so generous? It actually surprises Arthur. Tasha is the last to visit. They talk about their first meeting and how he ended up saving her again. Then, when he's not looking, she leans in and steals a quick kiss. She's so embarrassed she just runs off. That was their first kiss. Thinking about it, her face burns even hotter. She's really bold. Arthur is just left standing there, completely frozen in shock. He just got his first kiss stolen by a 13-year-old girl. Suddenly, he's thinking about the FBI agents lurking in the comment section. This guy is genuinely nervous. Is he heading for a 10-year sentence? He has to be careful with his own thoughts. He is technically still living in a 12-year-old boy's body. But wait, in this world, people his age are already getting married. He shouldn't be rotting in a jail cell just for one kiss. Besides, she was the one who made the move. It should be fine. Right? What do you guys think? A few days later, Arthur's wounds are completely healed up. He heads straight for his private training room. Gideon has really outdone himself, filling the space with advanced gear. The old man is even bragging about his new robot, a piece of tech that can replace almost anything. Gideon crafted almost everything in this workshop himself. He starts showing off his robot and an item that can transform mana, changing magic sigils and mana shields to withstand curse effects and even the powers of mid-tier silver rank mages. It is the absolute newest and greatest version of the explosion sensing training machine I built, and its name is Toby. Right now I am setting its basic technical stats too. Level 5, matching a dark orange mana core beast. Toby is built from malagoric iron, making it super tough, so even though its damage output is just at that level, its overall durability is actually way higher. Before he could even finish his sentence, Toby gets punched right through by him, leaving the old man dumbfounded. Goodbye, Toby. Sob sob. Guess we'll just have to wait for an even cooler version of Toby. In the days that followed, he kept training with Toby so old man Gideon could watch and upgrade them. He also noticed that Toby joints seemed to be pretty weak spots, so they found ways to reinforce those areas even further. Even for a mage who can't cast spells, it is pretty limiting. If it cannot blast out any elemental magic attacks, though not quite sure, but I think Toby mana reinforcement needs work. Toby is giving off. Toby needs a serious upgrade. He is practically leaking energy everywhere. A protective mana barrier surrounding its whole body. While that is the fastest and easiest way to protect yourself, for a mage, it is also pretty weak if you strike right at a single spot, though this might get a bit complicated and deep. It would be better if Toby could control mana shield, made of separate smaller mana shields linked together as one. That way, once a shield layer breaks, Tobias can easily and quickly patch those holes once they are shattered without wasting any excess mana from its core to generate a totally new barrier. Hearing his words, everyone froze in place, like statues, because the kind of mana shield he just described has never existed before. Casting spells to create a barrier like that takes more time, but it is way more flexible than the traditional shields that mages usually rely on. Today is the very first class taught by Professor Eder, and the freshers are gossiping all over, wanting to see if he can actually teach anything worthwhile. My dad donates thousands of gold coins a year to this academy, yet they let a freshman teach. How humiliating. I managed to sneak in an image recording device. You can show your old man what they are doing with his money. Right at that moment, he gets escorted in by the princess. Look at those punks. Just like that, he sets them up. That bad boy energy hits different. But the crowd keeps barking nonstop. They aren't holding back. They're shouting that he's a joke, just a freshman, acting like he can teach. Suddenly, one guy storms the stage, attitude dialed up to 11. He's challenging Arthur right there, pushing his luck. Thinking he could be professor if he wins in his dreams, Arthur isn't having it. Arthur unleashes a massive surge of mana, forcing the punch to his knees. Then, he starts talking, playing mind games with the whole room. He knows the vibe, so many here just don't respect him. Why should a freshman be standing there, teaching at this academy? But he tells them if they want answers, they need to stick around. Stay for his class, and they'll figure out exactly why. He drops his first question, and it's grounded in real, practical stuff. How to best pull mana from the air around you. A girl with red hair raises her hand, ready to jump in. She says mages pull it off best by absorbing natural mana flow, pulling it right from the air into their core, where it's filtered, solidified, and waiting for a chant, or ready to launch the moment a combat technique starts. Arthur says she's right. The core difference between the two paths: power users mainly burn through the mana stored inside their own cores, channeling it through their personal flow, keeping it tight. Meanwhile, mages pull straight from the atmosphere, all depending on the mana channels they were born with. But here's the kicker: why do both need to meditate? Especially when power users are always dumping their stored mana straight into their own internal cores. The redhead volunteers again. She thinks she's got it. She says mages rarely mix mana into physical strikes. Even so, they still have to spend their own energy, using their own stores just to command the mana outside to obey. Arthur nods. That's spot on. Essentially, they're using a baseline of mana they've already harmonized, using a special chant to force the environment to bend to them. But wait, if mages use less mana for their spells than the power users do for theirs is the color of a mage's mana core even a real measure? Is it actually an accurate way to rank someone's true level? He calls for 6 students, 3 mages and 3 power users to come up. Time for a practical lesson. He wants everyone to cast the most basic spell they know, specifically one based on their own natural elemental affinity. Power users have to launch their spells straight out, while the mages have to absorb the spell they just cast, pulling that energy right back into their own hands. Everyone's jaws just drop. How did he even think of that? They tried it, and not a single one succeeded, writing it off as total nonsense. Next up, he goes barehanded, blasting out power that leaves the whole crowd frozen. Even as a reinforcement mage, pulling this off at just the orange core stage is wild. I can't prove the exact math of what happens when mages absorb what they chant, but trust me on this, that trick is going to work entirely in your favor. His very first lecture is a massive hit, drawing in even more curious students afterward. Then Princess Kathleen herself tracks him down to talk. And right away his mind starts racing. Is this princess trying to confess to her? If that actually happened, it would trigger a full-on civil war between elves and humans. Whoa, hold on a second there, buddy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But then she bows her head, actually apologizing for what her family pulled at that auction. He's left a bit disappointed, totally thought it was going according to the romance script. Still, he tells her he didn't disrespect the king back then, so both sides share the blame. She really doesn't need to go around apologizing on their behalf. Yet there's one thing she just can't wrap her head about him. How can someone so famously talented, watched by everyone, stay so bright and upbeat? It's the total opposite of her, stuck being cold and depressed over her royal status. That realization actually makes the princess crack a smile the first time he's ever seen it. A little while later he heads out, but Sylvie stays behind, throwing a cute little tantrum, pulling all the stops with Kathleen, acting like a total wingman for Dad. Seriously, where do you buy a cute little pet like that? Drop the address in the chat. Meanwhile, he's also helping Tesha out with Beast Will synchronization. Merging with a Beast Will is no joke. Most people can't pull it off solo. That's exactly why he's right there, using his for elemental affinities to help Tesha through it. Later on, Tesha brings up what happened before, thinking Arthur's been mad about that sneaky kiss, which catches him off guard, realizing he's actually been avoiding her since that day. I know a girl her age getting married isn't weird at all given her royal bloodline. But his point is his own background doesn't quite measure up to that standard. Total excuse mode activated. Arthur just doesn't want a heavy relationship right now. Naturally, that lame excuse just makes Tesha storm off, thoroughly pissed off. You really think the people around you don't notice the constant happy mask you wear? That is exactly why Arthur is here. To lend a hand. He is helping Tesha master all four of her elemental affinities. A bit later, Tesha brings up what happened the other day. She thinks Arthur is still mad about that secret kiss. It catches him off guard, honestly. He has been avoiding her since then. I know a girl your age getting married is not exactly weird. You are royalty after all, but that is not the point. My own situation is just not on your level. Let us be real, Arthur is just making excuses. He is clearly not ready for a serious relationship right now. That hits a nerve. Tesha gets fed up and storms off. Does he really think people do not notice his act? He wears that mask every single day, acting like nothing ever bothers him. What even affects you, even now? Your only reaction is to shrug off how I feel. You just try to brush it all aside. You're even teasing me about it. Isn't it actually you who's being the real child here? It's exactly how you acted when you turned Lilia down. Just like back then. The following days, Arthur felt miserable whenever he replayed that moment in his head. He couldn't even focus during his lessons. But just then, he found some people to vent on. It was the same group of nobles he crashed the other day. Lucas was especially bitter. That fight was left unfinished, and he was still seething over it. He couldn't figure out how Arthur dodged that attack. He was sure Arthur used some special gear, but how could a poor guy like him afford it? Lucas was certain Arthur must have seduced Princess Kathleen for it. That fat noble couldn't hold back his rage anymore and started channeling mana to attack. He was a total creep, obsessed with the princess. His mana kept surging as he rushed straight at Arthur. A loud boom echoed out, but he couldn't land a single hit on him. Lucas, standing by, had no intention of stopping the fight. That coward was just using the fat guy as a puppet to attack Arthur. That way, Lucas wouldn't have to face any punishment for the incident. The fat guy's mana was going completely out of control now. Arthur realized he had to break his seal and use rare elements to stand a chance. But right in that moment, the little dragon suddenly grew into its giant form. With one massive stomp, it sent that guy face first into the dirt. You dare bully my dad? You could die 10 times over, and it still wouldn't be enough. The head of the disciplinary committee came running over to the scene. Arthur had to play it off, acting like he only just arrived because he felt the mana surge. But there was something else, weird. Bloody symbols were glowing on the guy's back. These kinds of things were starting to happen way too often at Cyrus Academy. Arthur and she headed straight to the headmaster's office to report it. Just then, 2 members of the Spear Association were already there. Lucas's older brother was among them. Arthur could feel it instantly. These two were incredibly strong. Honestly, if it came to a real fight, Arthur knew he would lose. Both of them gave their report to the headmaster regarding what had happened earlier. Pay attention. This is where the investigation takes a serious turn. We've asked the Mage Association to send researchers to investigate this case. They will work alongside Gideon and the school staff to find the cause quickly. As for the disciplinary committee, please keep patrolling the classrooms. I'll be sending additional support to help you all at night. Later, out in the hallway, Arthur caught a glimpse of Lucas. His older brother was giving him a stern talking to. It looked like Arthur wouldn't be able to touch Lucas while his brother was backing him up. But just then, one of the spears suddenly appeared. He talks down to the guy, thinking I can't touch him now, just because you're backing him up. He's full of himself, but right then, a spear tip suddenly snaps into view. Holding a blade to his throat is the elf girl who came with Bison. She told him earlier that among the 6 spears, she is the weakest link. The gap between them is huge, and Bison easily ranks near the top tier. Yet her intuition is razor sharp, seeing right through his attempts to hide his true power. Even with all his caution, she spotted him instantly. By the next morning, the whole academy is buzzing with wild rumors about students suffering mana bursts. To make matters worse, that fat kid from yesterday is dead. His corpse is leaking mana nonstop. The cut seems tied to strange blood markings branded onto his back. The royal family covered up crucial details pulled straight from his remains. They are keeping it all under wraps. The disciplinary committee can only step up patrols to keep everyone safe. That wraps up part 2 right here. Do not forget to drop a like for Bear. See you in the next one.